Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nur Illyana Sofya with the MOHAMMAD ARIPEN and my partner is Nur Hani Haziqah. Okay, today we will be presenting our research proposal entitled The Normalization of English Profanity Among Teenagers in Malaysia and Indonesia. Let me begin with the introduction. Our research focuses on the increasing use of English profanity among teenagers in Malaysia and Indonesia. Profanity refers to swear words or offensive words that are often used to insult someone or express strong emotions. In the past, these words were usually considered rude and unacceptable. However, today, many teenagers use English profanity in daily conversations, social media, online games, and digital content. This change has become an interesting issue because language plays an important role in communication. According to Nugroho and his colleague in 2023, the use of profanity can affect communication between people and may change social relationship, especially when it is used as verbal aggression. It is important to understand why profanity is becoming more accepted among teenagers. Now, I will move to our thesis statement. This research proposed that the normalization of English profanity among teenagers in Malaysia and Indonesia is mainly influenced by three factors. The first factor is exposure to digital content. The second factor is peer influence. And the third factor is emotional expression. These factors help explain why teenagers use English profanity more frequently in their daily communication. Okay, then I will focus on the first factor, which is the impact of digital content. Today, teenagers spend a large amount of time on social media platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, online games, and streaming websites. Because of this, they are constantly exposed to different forms of language, including profanity. Teenagers who spend long time online are more likely to hear and see swear words used by content creators, influencers, gamers, and online communities. When they are repeatedly exposed to these words, they become more familiar with them. Over time, profanity may no longer sound shocking or offensive. According to Nugroho and his colleague in 2023, repeated exposure to profanity through social media has changed the meanings of some profane words and reduced their perceived intensity. In other words, many teenagers no longer see these words as strongly offensive as previous generations did. Another important point is that social media is not only a source of entertainment, it is also a place where teenagers build friendships and interact with others. According to Amin and Salahuddin Sharifuddin in 2021, online platforms help teenagers express emotions, cope with peer pressure, and develop a sense of belonging within online communities. It is because profanity is commonly used in these spaces, teenagers may begin to see it as normal and acceptable language. Digital content plays a major role in shaping both the use and perception of profanity among teenagers. Okay, to conclude, constant exposure to profanity through social media and online platforms has influenced the way teenagers understand and use these words. Digital content has become one of the main factors contributing the normalization of English profanity among teenagers in Malaysia and Indonesia. Now, I would like to pass the presentation to my partner, who will explain the role of peer influence and emotional expression in more detail. Thank you.
Now, let's talk about how peer influence shapes the way teenagers use profanity. To begin, We must first understand that teenagers are at the stage of life where social belonging is really important to them. They are constantly seeking acceptance, approval, and connection from the people around them. Because of this, the social environment that teenagers grow up in has a massive impact on their language choices. When teenagers join a peer group where profanity is commonly used, they tend to adopt similar patterns simply to feel connected and accepted. This desire for social acceptance is one of the key forces behind the spread of profane language in the teenage circles. Interestingly, profanity isn't always used to offend someone. Instead, it is often used as a bonding tool through jokes, teasing, and casual conversations. According to Nurmiza Athira and Ilham Alia in 2022, teenagers use such language to seek validation and to strengthen their social bonds. But of course, not everyone sees it the same way. According to Tesakila and Prangin Angin in 2024, although teenagers view profanity as socially acceptable, others still see it negatively, depending on their cultural background. To summarize, peer influence is a powerful force. It shapes their language choices and becomes a tool for social bonding. Let's move on to our third main idea, profanity as a tool for emotional expression. There are moments when feelings become so intense, whether it's anger, frustration, or even excitement, that regular everyday words simply don't feel strong enough to capture what a person is going through. In those moments, teenagers often reach for profane language because it emphasizes the weight and intensity of their emotions. Hu et al. In 2026 say that rather than to insult others, many teenagers use profanity to vent their frustrations or disagreements. Some even use half-censored versions of profane words to avoid of being fully offensive. Zainal in 2021 also found that profanity can be triggered automatically as an emotional response to feelings like anger, annoyance, or even humor. To conclude, profanity among teenagers is deeply connected to emotional expression and serves as an important social and emotional tool. To wrap things up, we have explored how the normalization of English profanity among teenagers in Malaysia and Indonesia is driven by three key factors: exposure to digital content, peer influence, and emotional expression. Each of these factors plays a role in shaping how and why teenagers incorporate profanity into their everyday language. Although profanity does carry some benefits in daily conversations, it's important to acknowledge that teenagers must develop a clear understanding of its usage, meaning, and context. Promoting critical thinking and creativity in communication will help teenagers make more thoughtful choices. The key takeaway from our research is language is powerful. Whether formal or informal, the words we use reflect who we are and how we treat others. With the right awareness and education, teenagers can learn to use language in a way that is respectful, responsible, and meaningful. That brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for listening. Bye!